Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Hayomi. We begin a brand new Masechta, Maseches Gittin. Says the Mishnah on the Beis Amarav. Hamevi get mimdina sayam. If one transports a get, a divorce document, from a husband to his wife, and he's bringing the get from out of town, from Medina Sayam, from abroad, Rashi says. It's a term referring to Chutz La'aretz. Anything outside Eretz Yisrael is called Medina Sayam, except for Bavel, says Rashi. Now Tosfos points out, he asks a kasha, why does the Mishnah use this term Medina Sayam? Why not just say simply Chutz La'aretz? He says because the first opinion in the Mishnah, the Tanna Kama, will hold that not necessarily is everything outside Eretz Yisrael included in this halacha. In fact, he brings that Rekem v'Cheger, those towns right near Eretz Yisrael, were not treated as Chutz La'aretz with respect to the halacha in our Mishnah coming up soon. And therefore, the Mishnah specifically used this term to refer to Chutz La'aretz, Medinas Hayam, abroad, the cities at the sea, places situated at a distance from Eretz Yisrael, to indicate that the halacha will apply only to areas far away from Eretz Yisrael as opposed to those very close by, as we're going to see in the Mishnah coming up soon. So this fellow brought a get. Interesting, Tosfos on the top asks a kasha. Why did the Mishnah use the word get to describe the divorce document, since we find that actually the word get is used to describe other documents as well? Other stories are sometimes referred to as get. Still, says Tosfos, by and large, for the most part, when we say get, it's a reference to a get isha, a divorce document. And then he asks, why is it that we have a minhag, we have a custom that the get has 12 lines in it? So he brings two answers. One from Rabbeinu Tam, because the word get, Gimel Tes, in its numerical value, in its gematria, is 12. And that's how we get 12 lines. Another pshat, the name of Haigoin, the name of Sadia Goin, the Torah calls a get sefer krisis, a sefer of cutting off, of separation between the husband and the wife. And we find several separations in the Torah, most notably between the Chumashim, right? In the Sefer Torah, we have a gap between Sefer Bereshis and Sefer B'Shemayis. It's a 4-line gap, empty of any, devoid of any writing. The same between Shmos and Vayikra, the same between Vayikra and Bamidbar, for a total of 12 lines. Now he says the gap between Bamidbar and Dvarim doesn't really count here, because Dvarim is just a review of the other Chumashim. So we have 3 gaps in the Torah, 4 lines in each, a total of 12, and that corresponds to the 12 lines in the Sefer Krisis, the Sefer of cutting off, of separation, our get. So once again, the Mishnah says, Hamevi get Medina Sayam. A fellow transported a get from Medina Sayam, and Rashi points out, we're speaking about a shliach lahay lacha. So the husband asked this fellow, please be my agent. Take this get and deliver it to my wife. The Chacham instituted a takana. You bring a get, you have to vouch for its kashrus, for its authenticity. You have to say, this get was written in my presence. It was signed in my presence. Why do you have to say that? The Gemara will give us 2 reasons. So this applies to a delivery from Medina Sayam, from far away. Rabbi Gamliel Eimer, even from rather close by. If it's Chutz La'aretz, you have to say B'fanei nechta, B'fanei nechta. Afa maybe Mina Rekem, Mina Cheger, even from those towns near Eretz Yisrael, Rashi says, Rekem, Mina Cheger, are actually the towns of Kadesh and Bored, which the Targum refers to as Rekem and Cheger, right near Eretz Yisrael. Rav Lezer Eimer, a greater chiddush. Afilu mikfar ludim, even if he brings the get from Kfar Ludim, which is outside Eretz Yisrael, Lelud, and he brings it to Lud, which is right near Kfar Ludim, but it's from outside Eretz Yisrael to inside, you have to say B'fanei nechta, B'fanei nechta. V'chacham Eimer, no, ein tzorach sheyaymar B'fanei nechta, B'fanei nechta. There's no need to say this nusach. Only Elah maybe Medina Sayam, unless you're bringing from far away, and it would seem that the Chacham are just repeating the Tanna Kama. The Gemara will discuss this. When else do you have to say b'fanei nechtav? V'hamoilech. Or if you're delivering from here to there, from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz. Or v'hamevi mimdina lemedina bimdina sayam. Or if he's bringing from one province to the other in Chutz La'aretz itself. In all these cases, tzarach sheyamar b'fanei nechtam, you have to get up and testify. Rabban Shimon Gamliel Omer, he says a greater chiddush. Not only from city to city, afilu me'gemonia le'gemonia, even from one jurisdiction to the other within the same city. If it's split between two rulers, you deliver from one side to the other, you have to say b'fanei nechtam, b'fanei nechtam. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, what is considered Eretz Yisrael with respect to this halacha? Me'rekem, starting from the town of Rekem, which is on the eastern side of Eretz Yisrael, Limizrach, all the way to the east of the world. That is considered Eretz Yisrael. That's far enough from the actual Yishuv, civilization, place of habitation of Eretz Yisrael, and therefore this halacha applies starting from Rekem, going east. Rekem, Kimizrach, the actual town of Rekem, is also considered like the east, meaning we treat it like Chutz La'aretz. What about the south of Eretz Yisrael? Me'ashkelon Ledorim. From the town of Ashkelon going south, Ashkelon Kedarim, and Ashkelon itself is treated as south, meaning it's like Chutz La'aretz. Regarding north, Me'akoy Lotzafin, starting from Akoy going north, Va'akoy itself is also Ketzafin. Rameir disagrees. Rameir Omer Akoy Eretz Yisrael the GITTEN. Taisus brings that Akoy had two sides to it. One side was inside Eretz Yisrael, one side outside Eretz Yisrael. Rameir says the whole town is treated like Eretz Yisrael with respect to GITTEN. Concludes the Mishnah, this only applies when there is a Chutz La'aretz element involved. But maybe get be'eretz Yisrael, if he's transporting and delivering a get within Eretz Yisrael itself. This requirement does not apply. Now, suppose there are naysayers, there are challengers. The husband will come one day and says, well, guess what? This get is forged. So you delivered a get from Eretz Yisrael to Eretz Yisrael, and you did not testify, you did not vouch about its kashrus. And a year later, the husband comes along and puts the whole get into question. This thing was forged. What do we do now? How do you verify the validity of the get? You confirm its signatories. So Rashi says you have Eidim, which will come and say, well, we know these signatures are valid, are real, are genuine. And now the husband has no way of challenging the get. So in Chutz La'aretz, there's no issue because we already have the Shliach's testimony as to the kashrus get. The problem was because in Eretz Yisrael there was no requirement to testify upon delivering the get. What do you do then? The answer is you have to look for Eidim that will confirm that the signatories on the get are real, are genuine, and it was not forged. So the Mishnah began with the halacha that when one delivers a get from Medina Sayam, he has to get up and say b'fanei nechta or b'fanei nechta. My time, why do we need that? We have two reasons. Rav Amar, because those who live outside Israel were not well versed in all the intricate halachas of a get. We learn from Rabbi Pasuk because of lo seva krisis. A get has to be written lishma, or the intention to use it to divorce this isha. They're not familiar with these halachas, and therefore, who says they did it properly? And that's why the shliach gets up and says, "B'fanei nechtam, I was there. I know. I can vouch for its kashrus." And we start asking him questions. Says Rashi, "Well, okay, tell us about how they wrote it. What did they have in mind? Was it lishma? Was it not?" And that's how we verify that it was written lishma. So according to Rabbah, there's a lishma concern. Rav Amar, a different reason. Because there isn't much traveling between Eretz Yisrael and Chutz La'aretz. We don't have shayaras mitzuyas, Rashi says. Not much traffic going on, and we're concerned that perhaps down the road the husband will come and challenge the validity of the signatures on the shtar, the validity of the shtar itself, and he'll put the whole get into question, and we'll be at a loss. We're not going to have Eidim that will recognize, the signatories on the get, and therefore we require the shliach himself, upon bringing the get, to say Rabbi Yisai, to testify I was there, I know, it's a valid get. And now once we hear that, we take it as fact, it's on the record, nobody, including the husband, can come and challenge the get. So again, why do we say b'fanei nechtav? B'fanei nechtav, according to Rabbah, to preempt any concerns about the lishma aspect of the get, according to Rabbah, to confirm the validity of the signators and of the get as a whole. Any difference between the two reasons? Meaning, can we find situations where perhaps one reason would apply but not the other? The difference would be like this. We have three cases. Number one, dasihu beitrei. Suppose not one man brought the get, but two delivered the get. So in this case, explains Rashi, we're still concerned about lishma. Maybe it wasn't written properly with the proper kavanah, so we still have to address that. So according to Rabbah, we would still have to say, the two people would still have to say b'fanei nechtav. But according to Rava, the concern is kiyum of the chasimos of the edim. Well, we have two shluchim coming and giving us the get. If we have any trouble down the road, we'll just go back to them, and they'll confirm the validity of these signatures. Tosfos learns a bit differently. He says it's more simple than that. The fact that two shluchim come and pretty much they're telling us, look, the husband sent us with the get, that's the biggest indicator that it wasn't forged, and that it's a valid get, and therefore there's no need to say b'fanei nechtav, b'fanei nechtav. So that's one nafkamina. Two shluchim. According to Rabbah, you still have to say. According to Rabbah, you do not. Inami, another difference would be mimdina lemdina be'eretz Yisrael. So delivering a get from Eretz Yisrael to Eretz Yisrael, an internal delivery. Now, according to Rabbah, whose concern is Biki and Lishma, well, in Eretz Yisrael, they're fully versed, they're knowledgeable about the halach of Lishma, no concern of the Lishma aspect, and therefore no need to say b'fanei nechtav. But according to Rava, there still exists a concern, because we're speaking, let's say, from one province to the other, where perhaps there isn't enough traffic going back and forth, and perhaps we wouldn't be able to find people that recognize the chasimos of the edim from another province, and therefore the concern with respect to kiyum hashtar still exists, and therefore they would have to say b'fanei nechtav, b'fanei nechtav. So that's the second nafkamina. Inami, says the Gemara, you have a third nafkamina as well. Ba'isa Medina, b'Medina Sayam. It's chutz la'aretz, and you are making a local delivery within the same, province, within the same area. So the lishma factor is still there. So Rabbah's concern still applies. But Rava's concern, the availability of potential witnesses to come forward and to certify the signatures, you have that in abundance. It's a local get, and everybody recognizes, everybody knows who signed. There's no issue there, and therefore, according to Rava, there's no need for b'fanei nechtav. So let's summarize. We have three nafkamines. Mishnah says you need to say b'fanei nechtav, according to Rava, to ensure that the get is written lishma, according to Rava, to sort of certify the chasimais. Three nafkaminas are two shluchim brought the get. So you have the certifiers right here. You don't need to go say b'fanei nechtam, but the lishma concern still applies. So basically, according to Rava, you have to say b'fanei nechtav. According to Rava, not. The next case is from one area to another area in Eretz Yisrael. Well, it's in Eretz Yisrael, so Rabba's lishma concern doesn't apply. They're fully aware of the halacha of lishma. It's Eretz Yisrael, right? But it's one area to the other, so we're concerned about the eventual need to certify the chasimos, and therefore we say b'fanei nechtav. So according to Rabba, no need. According to Rabba, yes. And thirdly, you have Oisam Medina, a local delivery, but it's b'Medina Sayam. According to Rabba, we say b'fanei nechtav. According to Rabba, we do not. Now, according to all shittas, who's going to say the b'fanei nechtav? Who's going to sort of certify? That single shaliach, one man. One man? He's not an aid. We need two aidim for these types of halachas. According to Rabba, The reason is because we're concerned about the lack of lishma. So he's coming to certify, to confirm the lishma. Let's require 2 edim, like any other testimony in the Torah where 2 edim are required. Answers the Gemara, here it's different. Eid echad neman b'yisurin. Look, you're not coming to kill anybody, you're not coming to extract any money, you're just trying to testify about the status of the get. The get is a good get. And we find that the Torah gives credibility even to one person with respect to halachos of kashrus and isurim. Rashi brings a raya. Look, a person says, I took off truma. A person said, I shechted the animal. I removed the gir hanasha, the chaylev. You can eat based on that statement. So we see eid echad neman b'yisurin. Rashi Nivamis adds, look, otherwise how would anybody eat? By his friend. How could you walk into your friend's home and have his food? Evidently the Torah allows you to trust your friend, one person, when it comes to matters of Isser v'Heter. And Tosfos asks, well, some of these examples are not exactly perfect examples, he asks on Rashi, because in some of them, like Truma and Shchita, it's called biyadai. It's within his ability to do so, to change that status. And something which is biyadai, I can shech the animal so I'm believed on it. Because I can just do it if I want. So that type of situation wouldn't really provide a basis, a source for the general halacha that any eid echad is neman with respect to any isser, even if it's not within his ability to affect that change of status. Just like for example, like the shliach with the get. He's not making the get. He can't rewrite the get now, so why would you believe him? So Tosfos says, I have a different raya. Anida is believed to say, look, today is my second, my third day, my fourth, Zava, when she counts her 7th day. Why? And the pasuk tells us that she's believed. The suffer Allah, she counts, to herself. La'atzma, it's her own business. That's how we learn Eidechad Neman B'Yisurin. So in any case, we're going to apply that to our case as well. We believe the shliach was an Eidechad. 1 second, says the Gemara. Big difference. When do we say 1 eid is believed? You have a piece of unknown. We don't know whether it looks like some type of grease, some type of fat. We don't know whether it's the forbidden fat, the chaylev, or the permissible fat, the shuman. Savek shel chaylev, savek shel shuman. So over there, it's in a state of uncertainty. The law is chazak yisur. There's no pre-established notion here. You have no idea. It can go either way. Eid echad is believed. When he says it's permissible, it's mutter, it's shuman. Aval hachad is chazak yisura. Neishasish. But it's very different than an isha who is accepting a get, which the shliach, as an eid echad, is claiming to be a kosher get. You're working against an established notion. She is a married woman up until now. Is chazak isur, an established isur of an eishasish. You're trying to undo that. You're trying to change that status. Number 1. Number 2, v'avadav shebe'erva. We're speaking about matters of marriage, of erva, of arayas. We know this as a fact. We learned it back in Saita, Daf Gimel Amud Beis. We have Gzera Shava, Matzah be'ervas davar. We have Apishnayim Edim Yakum davar. We connect the davar. In matters of erva, of marriage, etc., you need 2 edim. So back to the question, how do we believe the Eid Echad? Answers the Gemara, because in reality, this concern about Lishma is not a real tangible concern. Reiv B'Kiyin most. Rashi adds the word Reiv Yisrael, B'Kiyin. Most Yisraelim are cognizant of this requirement. So if you follow the Reiv, really, you don't need to testify any further. Even Rameir Shita, that he concerns himself even with just a minority, even a small percentage of concern, is considered real. Well, here it's even less than mute. Stam Safri. The assumption is that the scribe that's involved in the daini of the dayanim that write the get, Migma Gmri, they're knowledgeable in their halachis, they're experts in their field. To be concerned that it wasn't written Lishma is a very remote concern. It's a very far out chashash. V'Rabbanu de Itzrich. It's just that the Chachamim were sort of machmer. Rashi says, maybe, the husband happened to find a get in the trash can, which was written for somebody else with the same name, from the same city, and decided to use that shtar. So it's a very remote concern. Even though the Chachamim were concerned and they wanted, clear-cut testimony that it was Lishma, so perhaps 2 Eidim would be needed, but here, since there's a chashash of an aguna, look, she got a get, and if we should start concerning ourselves with all kinds of remote concerns, she's going to be left hanging and stranded. So on account of that, Akila Rabban were mekel. They applied a leniency that even 1 aid is believed. Asks the Gemara, but it would seem like we're working against ourselves. We're trying to help her, but really, this is going to be her undoing. It's going to make it worse for her. Hi kulahu, is this a kula that we believe 1 aid? Chumrahu. It actually results in it's something to her detriment. It's a chumrah. Why? Listen to this. The mitzrachas leitrei, because we required 2 eidim. Had the halacha been that 2 eidim have to come and say that it's lishma, show's over. Lo yasi bal ma'arer upasale. Then the husband can never come along and yell and scream that it's pasal. It wasn't lishma. What do you mean? He has 2 eidim. 2 eidim that speak about the kashas ashtar are stronger than the husband. So, had we have required a proper testimony of 2 eidim, she would have been protected and insured forever against her husband's shenanigans. But chad, being that it's only 1 aid speaking about the kashrus, you never know what might happen down the road. He's only 1 aid. Asir ba'al ma'arer. For all you know, the husband comes along in a year's time and he says, look, Rabbi Yisai, this is no good apostle. I'll say the star is apostle. So actually, if you're trying to protect her, raise her standards, raise the bar. Have 2 eidim come and speak about the kashrus, which will establish the validity of the star once and for all. Answers the Gemara, it's not necessary. As we learned, we learned that the shliach has to present the get to the isha in front of how many? There's a shayla, whether it's 2 eidim or 3, 2 dayanim or 3 dayanim. Rabbi Yehuda Kessler, 2 shita is chadam fnei beis. They have to give it to her in front of 2 people. V'chadam fnei gimel in front of 3 people. So it's a crowd, it's a scene, and therefore mi'ikara meidak dayak. The shliach wants to protect his reputation, his name. He's going to make sure initially when he gets involved, before he gets involved in this whole story, and he's willing to accept upon himself this role, this task of getting involved, bringing the shtar and delivering to the isha. He'll be made a daik. He'll pay close attention to the fact, to the details, and ensure that this is a properly written get. Why? So as not to, smear his reputation if eventually it turns out that he brought a bogus get. So bottom line is the Chachamim understood this fellow's mindset. The fact that he's allowing himself to get involved indicates that he knows with certainty that this shtar is a proper shtar, it's a get, it's a kosher get. And therefore, we no longer have reason to believe that the husband will come and yell and scream, because, like we said, the shliach, before he gets involved, confirms that the husband's really willing to give the get and it wasn't forced on him, and he's not going to come and complain. Number 2, even if he does come and complain, says Rashi, once we accept the testimony of the Eidechat, which, as we just explained, is based on this understanding of his mindset, and which pretty much solidifies his words, gives his words credibility. We no longer believe the husband. Even if he comes and casts doubt on the kashrus haget, we say, no, that's it, no more. We have an emunos of the shliach, and we accept his words as fact. The shtar is kosher, and she's free to marry. Okay, let's briefly summarize today's daf. We learned about the takanas, chachamim, when one delivers a get from chutz la'aretz to Eretz Yisrael, or we have different interpretation of chutz la'aretz, but the bottom line is, in order to ensure due process, we have to get up and say, befanei nechtav, befanei nechtam. Rabbi says, because otherwise, who knows if it was written lishma, according to Rava, in order to provide certification, regarding the legitimacy of the Chasimos in the Shtar. We had 3 Afkiminis in Rabba and Rava, and we explained how is it that one aid is believed as opposed to elsewhere where we need 2 Eidim. The answer is really it's just a remote concern because Roiv Abaki and the Seifrim are certainly learned. There's some remote concern which is addressed merely by the Eidos of the Eid Echad, whose Eidos is based on the fact that he certainly verified and confirmed the facts before coming over and getting involved in this process, and that gives him credibility, which ensures that the Isha is protected from any further challenges that might come her way. All the best to you, Hatzlacha Rabba and Besuros Teves.